Hello everyone! Welcome to this introduction to the European Commission's internal organization. When using the word European Commission, people can refer to two different things. On the one hand, the European Commission is the so-called College of Commissioners, which includes the Commission President, the Vice Presidents, and the regular commissioners. On the other hand, European Commission also refers to the entire bureaucracy of about 32,000 members of staff, which is organized in various Directorates General, services, and one Secretariat General. At the head of the College of Commissioners stands the Commission President. The President convenes and chairs the weekly meetings of the College of Commissioners and sets the guidelines for the work of the Commission and its internal organization. The President also distributes policy portfolios to the different commissioners. In every Commission term, the portfolio distribution has looked a bit different, and the past few presidents have put their stamp on the portfolio distribution and on the hierarchies among the different commissioners. Moreover, the Commission President is regularly invited to the European Parliament to answer MEPs' questions about the Commission's activities. He or she also represents the European Commission towards other EU institutions and at meetings with member state governments and meetings with external governments. Since 2019, Ursula von der Leyen fulfills the role of Commission President. In addition to the President, the College of Commissioners consists of several Vice Presidents and regular Commissioners. Since the Lisbon Treaty, the High Representative of the Union for Foreign Affairs and Security Policy also has been a Vice President of the Commission. In addition, the current President von der Leyen has appointed 3 executive vice presidents and 4 other vice presidents, each responsible for a group of commissioners. In total, the College of Commissioners consists of 27 members, that equals the number of EU member states. Each commissioner has a specific policy portfolio for which he or she is responsible. But regardless of this distribution of different policy areas, the College of Commissioners jointly takes decisions and is collegially responsible for them. Each commissioner is assisted by a cabinet. This cabinet is the commissioner's personal office. It consists of 6 members with a minimum of 3 different nationalities to strengthen their European instead of their national orientation. In addition, the head of cabinet must be of a different nationality than the commissioner, him or herself. This is how Commission President von der Leyen distributed the portfolios and responsibilities among the commissioners. Have a look at the Commission website to find out more about the different commissioners and their portfolios. European commissioners are appointed for 5-year terms that can be renewed if they are proposed again by the member state. The European Council first proposes with a qualified majority a candidate for the position of the Commission President. The Lisbon Treaty postulates that this choice needs to take into account the elections to the European Parliament. The European Parliament then elects the Commission President, for which it requires a majority of its component members. After the election of the Commission President, each member state, in consultation with the newly elected President of the European Commission, proposes a candidate for the position of a commissioner. The Council of the European Union adopts the list of commissioner candidates, who are subject to rigorous hearings in the European Parliament. When the Parliament is not convinced of the qualifications or integrity of a candidate, this candidate will most likely be withdrawn by its member state and replaced by a new candidate, so as to avoid that the entire college is rejected by the Parliament. The full College of Commissioners, including the Commission President, then needs to be approved in a single vote of consent by the European Parliament. After the Parliament's approval, the College of Commissioners is formally appointed by the Council of the European Union, acting by qualified majority. In cases of severe misconduct, the Commission President can request a member of the Commission to resign. In addition, the European Parliament can vote on a motion of censure of the Commission, which requires a 2/3 majority of the votes cast, representing a majority of all members of the European Parliament. It can, however, only dismiss the entire College of Commissioners and not individual commissioners. Moreover, the Court of Justice can compulsorily retire commissioners. Let's have a look at the Commission as a bureaucracy. The staff of the European Commission is organized in different so-called directorates general, which have some similarities to national ministries. However, there's not always a perfect match between commissioner portfolios and directorate general policy areas. Examples of DGs are DG Competition, DG Climate Action, and DG Development and Cooperation. In addition, there are various services that support the functioning of the Commission, such as the legal service that provides legal advice to the Commission. The Secretariat General steers and coordinates the work across the entire Commission. The European Commission is a complex institution that is a hybrid between a political and an administrative institution. It can play an important role in initiating policy and has driven a number of initiatives over the course of EU history.